Bitcoin is going to zero.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This time we have volume. I can see this moving. Let me know if you can hear me correctly, and if so, let's get it started. Let's get started with you guys because you guys are the most important part of this show. And let me give a shout out to you guys. We have Ada Ace, number one. What's up, bro? Welcome. We also have Mike Play. What's up, brother? Of course, the one and only Alexander G. What's up? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. We also have Gare. What's up, Gare? How is it going? LFG. Let's go, brother. Great to have you guys in here. Mike Play, of course, double shout out in 8 days. Double shout out. So let's get it started. Let's start hunting for some trades. Today is Thursday, and well, we already have been used to getting closer to the weekend and start trading some stuff. Let's see what is it up there in the crypto space, and let's see if we can scavenge some trades. Nonetheless, remember, quick advice, fair warning, I'm trying to keep it low, keep it slow, right? In the meantime, we have a definition whether we're gonna be bouncing from where we are or if we're gonna continue. And to get a little bit more inside of that, let's go to Okay, I do have XRP here, but the one that I want to go over, it's gonna be Bitcoin. So let's go first into Bitcoin in here. Let's get it. And this is the part that I told you guys I need to wait for. And look at that. Oh my god. Going up, going down, perfect retest. And then we just need to go and hit the stop. Ooh, man, this thing is getting I'm getting extremely nervous. All right, so why am I getting extremely nervous? Let's go and take a look once again. Where are we standing and what are the possibilities for the trade to go both up and down, and what are going to be the repercussions? All right, so first let me just get rid of this and let's concentrate in what we got in front of us. All right, let me hide everything. Here it is. Simple, no spaghetti, of course. Okay, Michael Online, what's up, bro? Welcome. Top of the evening, bro. Let's get it. All right, so we have a bear flag coming down. All right, that's not a secret. Or also, this could now be considered a triangle depending on where your first pivot is set at. All right, a rising wedge. Both of them, both rising wedge, bear flag, or rising channel, those are bearish patterns. So what if we are in one of those? Remember, this is daily, right? Let's go into the 4 hours and take a look at, or let's, as I said, let's check a look at this area right here. Let's bring up one of these huge arrows, right? Let's go to the 4 hours. Great. And right here, we can see the same bear flag coming down, one time hitting bottom, second time hitting bottom, one time hitting bottom, second time hitting bottom, last stop, last stop, and then coming down, little dead cat bounce, and boom, breakout. Coming down, little dead cat bounce, and are we gonna go lower? I mean, is this gonna be like the dead cat bounce like this? Okay, I don't want to be that pessimist, all right? I want to be more positive today. So we're going to keep it as we speculate it's going to happen. Putting in front at this point, not the worst case scenario. I know I always tell you, let's take a look at the worst case scenario, but there's a little thing happening here. And I don't know if you can see it. That is a dynamic reactor. We are on the dynamic reactor area. Not only that, look at what is it used, or what is it acting as a support. Your quantum reactor, all right? That itty bitty tiny little thing right there, the quantum reactor acting as a support, is leading me to believe that, hey, we have that hopium to get at the top of the channel, right? Not only that, look at that. We have an early flip of the ribbon. We talked about, not yesterday, because yesterday, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, but I fall asleep. So, confession time, I'm sorry. I fell asleep, dude. I was so tired. I went for like take some dinner, and then I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna rest my eyes, and oop, long and behold, I woke up like at midnight. All right, so we were talking about having this, right? Is it a confirmed bounce? Yes, it's a confirmed bounce. Is it a break to the zero line? Not quite. Seems like it. So if we break to that zero line and we go hit the power bar at the top, I think we're gonna get this. All right. So I think now that makes a little bit more sense, right? Why I'm thinking that we're gonna hit one more time this stop and not fall below. If we hit one more time this stop, we are definitely going to be breaking out above of the dynamic reactor. Remember, previous resistance becomes support. And with that support, well, we might get the last push of one more retest, breakthrough. Retest, of course, is not about the breakout, it's about the retest. And then off you go, 100K, boom, chakalaka. So far, that's what I think. I'm glad. Thank you, Alexander. I really appreciate it. I did not intend to leave you guys hanging, but it happened. It happened. Really appreciate it, Alexander. Thank you. All right, so that's what I'm expecting at this point. Week's wife, what's up? Welcome. Great. Up to repairs. What up? A P breath. AP ape. Yeah, ape breath. What's up, bro? Welcome. Oh man, I think I need to change my glasses. Or make this thing like bigger. Let's get it. All right. So I believe that we still have a chance if we're able to bounce off this area. If we're able, of course, and this already have played out, right? Because we are this zone is the zone. We are looking for that flip of the. All right. So let me just get rid of that. Let's put it like this. And let's mark that circle. And of course, let's make that line something like that. And then something like this. All right. So kind of like this pattern in here. All right. But farther to the right. All right. This is the area that we need to hold. This is the area that we need to hold for them to start looking for some icons pop up. So we are into a pickle at this point. We're getting closer to the edge of the cliff thing here. Why? Because for one thing, if we burst to the upside, the reaction on altcoins is gonna be greater, right? So it would make sense for us to allocate on altcoins at this point if we want to get the altcoin replication or replica of this movement, right? That kind of would make sense. But hold on your horses, hold your horses. But what if it goes the other way around? If it goes the other way around, altcoins are also going to be dumping, and they're going to be dumping hard. So it would have made sense then to short it now, right? So we have a counter analysis. We are at the center of the range, so there's nothing to do here. That's why we need to wait. That's the analogy of the hot dog, right? There is no trading zone, and just the bottom and the top. So, question, did you long that bottom? Hopefully you are, and you right now, I know it's an itty bitty tiny little profit, but hopefully you are pushing up to entry or even taking some of that money out. All right. So far, I believe we're going up, right? But the market is not gonna move based on what I believe. So let's go take a look at what is gonna be my game or my playing here. All right. So let's go here. Perfect. We already have going through. So going up and down at this point. Let's go for. Come on. This one here. Let's compare those. Okay. We went down into this area. I wish that we could go a little lower. That's what is being reflected here. right there. So I was expecting for it to go a little lower. It is finding this support. So basically at this point, we need to wait for whatever it happens. I'm just going to update this, right? Up in here. And the same thing. Let's just the same thing in there, right? So I think that we're going higher at this point and then coming back down. So we need to wait. This is the center of the movement, so not much to do there. We still need to give it a wait. All right, let's go take a look at a couple of altcoins. Let's see if we can allocate quote unquote safely, and if there's not much of a risk to be taken. All right, something important, and let me bring out my indicators for this, and I want to be on Bitstamp for this analysis. It's going to be a couple of resistances that we have at the top. I'm going to be turning everything up in here. It's going to be messy, so get ready. All right, so here is, I think we overdid it, but there it is. We have a loud order block right where we are, but we are right there grinding it. Right, if these order blocks gets out or gets rid of it, so basically disappears, I think we're going higher. Okay, so how could you maybe measure that? We just need to keep an eye on it. All right, the next thing would be, well, our VRVP. We are on a resistance zone here. All right, and then, well, of course, our other set of support and resistances in here, and this one's here, right? And we can see another two areas. Foreign areas. This area right here, look at that, 98 100k, and another area right down here in this loud order block. All right, so based on these two loud order blocks, again, we are going to be banging in between those until one of those disappears. I'm thinking because of how slow the price is just grinding that area, it's not having a big rejection, right? So it's going in and staying in. So because of that, I think that this order block is going to disappear, or this is going to disappear and then we're going to have a rejection, right? So you just need to keep that eyes on that. Personally, I believe that this loud order block is going to quote unquote disappear, but in reality, we're going to be seeing jumped up a little bit. It's just the bearish reallocating for a better opportunity for the short. And that is because we have this other area of resistance to the left. We got Kelly. What's up, Kelly? How is it going? Welcome, welcome. Who else we got here? We have Luis Veral. What's up? Also have, who else we got in here? Maybe Band-Aid. Maybe Band-Aid. Welcome. Great to have you. Great to have you. All right. So let's go take a look at a couple of altcoins. Now that we know what are the risks on Bitcoin, right, we will need to, well, take those risks. So long story short at the top and long at the bottom. All right, so where's it? Short position, short at the top, long at the bottom. There's no other way around. Let's actually go ahead and take it, take a look at that. And once again, long at the bottom. And let me just duplicate this one, clone, and short at the top. That's it. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking for in these zones. All right, so let's go take a look at XRP. We were talking about XRP on the 4 hours, but in the daily, we already have the breakout. We're looking for the breakout retest. So let's go and take a look at and check a look at the 4 hours. We are going down. There we go. We're going back up. And right here is where we're going to be looking for that entry short, right? So I'm going to be putting it in here, and I'm going to be waiting for that flip of the ribbon. Not only that, it's time for me to start cleaning this up, right? So the bullish scenario did not play it out. Perfect. The bearish scenario, it's playing out. Not only is playing out, it is basically to the T, right? So let's just get rid of everything here, and let's start dropping our indicators. The first thing I want to go over, it is there is support and resistance. Let's go and put them on in here. Well, we have a big resistance at the top. Not only that, we have a trend line in here. So it makes sense that my entry is in between those two areas. So let's go for that. My stop loss needs to be at my previous high, that high. Still a little bit too pushing it, but that's all right. And then we're going to be aiming to my next support. So this is going to be our short entry. All right. Not only that, do we have an alert? Yes, we have an alert on that trend line. Perfect. Not only that alert, I'm going to be adding another alert right before my entry point. There it is. So I have enough time to reconsider entering. And what I'm expecting for a short, it's going to be this rejection, right? So right here, that rejection. All right, let's take a look at a couple of other stuff in here, like some more localized support and resistances, order blocks, and liquidity zones. So to take a look at the order blocks, look at that. We have a very big order block. Something important about these double order blocks, it's that they're not only creating a rejection zone, but they have magnetism, right? So they are magnets. So which means that depending on the volume, this is where it's worth to take a look at that volume. That this has a higher volume, but no, it's not doubling this volume. All right, so I'm not that concerned. But what I think could be happening is going up in here, right? And then having that rejection being drawn at this other order block. That's why I'm setting this alert and looking for the flip of the ribbon. It's not only that the price action gets in here, but I also want to have that confirmation for a rejection. Right? Another thing that you can do, and we always have done this in the channel, right, is divide your entry. So what we can do here is just push our stop loss all the way up in here, and instead of doing one position, we can do 1/4 of a position. And then in this case, I'm going to be aiming right here. Let me bring up again those order blocks. Maybe even higher. Like that. Yeah. I think that'll be all right. And then aiming to that area, right? And in this case, I'm going to double that with half of a position. At the end of it all, right, I have more than half of a position. I have 3/4 of a position right there, almost getting ready to jump in. This is going to highly push my entry somewhere around that zone, right? Therefore, getting me into a way better position. So that's what we're going to be doing just for the sake of practicing. Although I would put half and then stop loss in half. We're going to practice this strategy right here. Let's see how that plays. Loco for Crypto, what's up? Welcome. Great to have you. Crypto Squid, what's up? Welcome, my friend. Great to have you around. Really appreciate it. All right. So that's going to be for XRP. So first place in the game. Great. Let's try to find 2 more entries, right? I'm not going to push it too much. Let's take a look at maybe 4, 5 cryptos. And if we find another entry, perfect. We'll take it. Not, we're not going to push it. All right. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Hashtag Ethereum. And we are back in here where we see the trend line. What kind of trend line this, man? A itty bitty tiny trend line, right? That not only calls for the support, but also remember we were talking about something like that. In fact, let me just add it better. Is this low? Like that. All right. I think that makes much more sense, right? And well, we're hitting that support. It's not about the breakout up on top. It's about the retest. We don't quite have the flip of the ribbon. So this one, and this is where we need to be very careful. All right, let me just clear this up. This one could actually be a dead cat bounce or a head and shoulders. So let's bring up the rest of my indicators. Let's see what are they telling us. And I want to also take a look at the Fibonacci, the Fib and the liquidations chart. All right, so everything, we are bullish. Everything is above the dynamic reactor. That's a great news. Let's take a look at here. We have a support, perfect, and then we have the resistance. Great. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, so it makes sense to go higher. I'm gonna leave that for now because this is gonna be our next possible target if we go for the short. All right. Let's bring this up. We have a loud order block. Now things are start to have some shape. I'm gonna be looking for a short up there, somewhere around this zone, or maybe a little bit lower, somewhere around there. I'm gonna add an alert in here. Okay, and this is not a defined entry. My stop loss, yes, but my entry will be able to change. All right, I'm just gonna push it here. And what I'm gonna be looking for is the actual flip of the ribbon. If this thing does like that, I'm gonna short it here. All right, let's mark that. Third position on breakout retest, so a little higher. All right, and then off we go to the downside. Perfect. So far, so good. So why aren't we taking this long or this other long? Well, because we haven't had that flip of the ribbon to the upside. If we have that flip of the ribbon to the upside and then we keep pushing, well, we consider taking the long. But right now, we're not. We're on a retracement. Yes, we're bullish, but we're coming out of a bearish scenario. So it wouldn't make sense just to be a little careful in here to go back and hit some liquidity somewhere around there. All right. So still, I'm not trusting the markets. Could this be a pretty nice long? Yes, it could, but we have money flow POC at the top. We have resistance at the top. We have what else we have? We have a loud order block and we have a liquidity zone. So you see my trust issues with that long, right? I mean, I don't think that I'm the only one there. All right, so seems like we are getting into it. Let's add an alert. Yes, we already have it. And of course, let's add another alert right here in case we're gonna be going for a lower short. That's there it is. All right, so let's go and take a look at now to XRP. Let's go save this. Let's go for XRP. And XRP, well, oh no, we already have talked about XRP. Let's go take a look at ADA. We talked about ADA today on the daily. We are actually playing out as we were expecting. Look at that. Into the dynamic reactor. Sorry, into the order block. Looking for that flip of the ribbon. There we go. And then breakout retest continuation. So I'm going to be going for possible short in here. I'm going to be aiming like here. Look at that. We have the same Bart Simpson scenario. But in this case, it's slightly bit different. And that is because, look at that. We have dynamic reactor acting as a resistance for the shoulder. All right. So that actually makes a little bit more sense to short this area, right? I'm still going to push it a little bit higher. I'm going to add an alert right here. And the only thing that I'm kind of scared of would be this thing actually bouncing off this resistance. So like that, right? That actually put it into a cricket bottom, which actually push it all the way down. We miss this trade, that's fine. I'm not gonna chase after it, but I'm gonna be looking for a long position in here. So I'm gonna add an alert and then going for that long position somewhere around here. Stop loss. Ooh, don't move that. Let's lock it and let's see if we have an alert. Yep. So let me move my stop loss and then aim at, come on. Then aim at the previous highs. All right. But that's going to be the plan for today. We already have the 3 possible entries. All right. So we have Bitcoin. Oh, well, actually, we have more. We have Bitcoin, ADA, Link, and what was the other one? Dude, I need to refresh my memory. XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum. There we go. Let's go take a look at how copper is doing. Perfect. All right, so we got a stop down here. Remember, I mentioned I was not going to be trading this one. What a shame, but it did not. I mean, it just kind of like a turned back around. Remember what I mentioned? If this turns back around, get out of that trade. So you should have closed your trade right there, right there. So was it a stop loss? Yes, it had everything as a lower high and we were piercing through the 0 line. At this point we are having a possible reversal. So what I'm going to be going for, it's a little short from here. All right, I don't really want to push that other short, but let's call it out again. I cannot short copper. I'm not gonna be able to short it with you guys, but if you're going to, remember, quarter of a position, and we're gonna be aiming somewhere around here. It's closer to a 1-to-1 risk reward. All right, let's go and take a look at a couple other things. We had an ICP. I do remember that we were talking about ICP. theories. We already have gone lower. We are building up that bullish, oh man, I need to double click and read it. Divergence, of course, that like quadruple bullish divergence. That doesn't mean that we're gonna go up. It just means that we're building more pressure. All right. I still think, and look at that, we have the red clipping bullish divergence. All right, we need to take a decision here. It's pretty bearish, but I think that we can do something with this. I'm gonna aim in here, and I'm gonna do a double entry. So I both in here and right now. All right, it's gonna be half of a position and half of a position right there. And I'm gonna be aiming to our dynamic reactor. Here's the thing. Remember that I mentioned I don't want to do more than 3 or 4 trades. Which one are you gonna be taking? All right. Oh man, get me into a pickle because I want to take them all. Hey, what's up? Olsen, how's it going, brother? Welcome, welcome. Great to have you, bro. Hey, Dutchy, how's it going, brother? Welcome. Great to have you guys. All right. By the way, quick thing. Click that like button. It really helps with the algorithm and also helps me here with the channel and the show. All right. So what is it gonna be? Are you gonna swipe anything? Are you gonna lower your positions on the other one so you can fit one more? What is it gonna be? I mean, right now I should not be taking more than 3 trades. So this fourth is not within my budget at this point. Why? Because if it goes down, basically we are doing just longs, right? So that's just not in line of what we should be doing. We should be having an equilibrium. So this is the thing. I'm not gonna be trading. Come on. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be trading right now ICP, but I'm gonna be doing is just doing half a position right there. That's it. Perfect. Let's see if I can get it. All right. That way I can just do half a position extra, not a full trade. All right. Okay, guys. So I think we already have a couple of entries. Let's see if we can nail them tomorrow morning. Let's see if it doesn't go the other way around. Remember to set a stop loss. Remember, almost all of the trades were half of an entry. Only one was half, and then 1/4, so 3/4 of an entry, right? That's where we push a little bit the entry, right? But other than that, be safe. We're on a transition zone. We can have a swing failure pattern, and if we do, that will be the signal to enter, especially breaking above that 0 line. Okay, guys, without further ado, thank you guys so much for joining. Really appreciate you. I already miss you so much, guys. And since when Piper is not gonna be here the next week, I don't know if I'm gonna be doing these night sessions. I'll try to, but I'll see if I can squeeze these ones in. All right. And then after Christmas, let's see what Santa Claus give us, right? And then maybe it's gonna throw away, or not gonna throw away. It's gonna give away a couple of Xbox Live memberships. I don't know. Maybe so you guys can game with me. All right, guys. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.
Bitcoin is going to 0.